Hello, and welcome to the Classic Land Cruisers podcast. I'm Dan, your host. You can find me on Instagram at FJ40_UMA_Smurf or on I Hate Mud at Mountain Biker. You can find the podcast on Instagram by searching Classic Land Cruisers. Remember to go to reefmonkey.com to get your Classic Land Cruiser podcast merch. Bring your adventure home with inlowgear.com, your source for custom Land Cruiser apparel and merchandise, where adventure becomes art, designed for the road. This episode was brought to you in part by Redline Land Cruisers, Save Your F, by Manafree, your one-stop shop for Land Cruiser parts and service, by Valley Hybrids and Terrain Tamer North America. All right. Okay. Welcome to this episode of the Classic Land Cruisers podcast. I am once again on location. This time I'm at South to North Land Cruisers with Ian Westmoreland. I think I saw your name pop up in Toyota Trails a couple of years ago, and I was like, oh, he's from the Boise area. I should have him on the podcast sometime because I'm originally from Boise. My parents' house is actually just 2 miles away from his shop. So, Ian, what got you into Land Cruisers?
That goes all the way back to 1990. So when I was 17 years old, right before my 18th birthday, I got a bit of money from some family dying that I had gotten when I was younger,
Yeah.
And I was shopping for a new car, to have. I really wanted a Range Rover, but they were too expensive, I was 17 years old, didn't really know much about cars. I knew how to work on them a little bit, but anyways, I went and looked at like Cherokees, like brand new Cherokee at that time. I think you could buy it for about 14 grand, 15 grand. And that was kind of my budget. And then I came, back then you'd look in the Auto Trader.
Yeah.
For cars. And I come across an FJ60. That was an 87, so last year to 60. It wasn't in town. It was a couple towns away. Like it would be like from here to Mountain Home or something. I didn't have a car to go look at it, so I called them and said, can you bring it to me to look at it? I've got the money. I think they were asking like $17,000. It was 3 years old and it had 40,000 miles.
Okay.
And so they sent the new guy up with the 60 after hours in the evening. I ended up buying it. I beat him up. I got it for $14K cash.
Nice.
I pulled out $10,000 in $100 bills, or I had $10,000 cashiers or something, and then I had the rest of it.
Yeah.
So that introduced me to Land Cruisers. And that was my first car as an adult as well. So that we took like road trips. I'm from Eugene, Oregon. That's where I grew up. And so we took trips from Seattle to LA, as young adults when we were 18, 19 and that thing, road trips with friends. And the first time going four-wheeling, It was in that old 60. And back then you didn't put bumpers and lifts and lockers, you put mud tires on it in the stereo. And that was about it.
Yeah. My son has a second-gen 4Runner right now. And he's done tires and stereo system in it, and for a 17-year-old kid, that's like perfectly fine for now.
Yeah, I had some extra money. I probably would have done a lift if they were available at the time. It just wasn't. Yeah, it just wasn't on the radar.
Yeah,
So
he's already like, I want to do an actual lift, not a body lift, and I literally just put the tires on it, and he barely has like 1,000 miles on the tires, if that, and he's already like, yeah, I want to go up to 33s, not 31s. I'm like, you need to pay for your own tires if you're gonna do that.
This was like putting 235.
Yeah.
Just go to the tire shop. Oh, that mud terrain tire, I want that.
Yeah, my
my 40 had 235 15s on it when I first got it. And when I did a night run, and I told my wife, I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be an easy run. The guys who are organizing it said it's going to be an easy run, 2 hours tops. And I ended up flashing the sidewall of one tire and getting a slight leak in the sidewall of another tire. So every time it would go around, it'd go. And every so often they'd have to stop and put air back in my tires and everything else. But it was one of those forced upgrades that I had to do. I'm like, well, I guess I'm doing 31s now. So
yeah, so that was my first experience with Land Cruisers and 4-wheel drives and being an adult with your own car, Yeah, so from there I just kind of went downhill because the money went away, and I had a regular young kid job that at that time didn't pay anything, and I think I only had that thing for maybe barely 3 years, 2.5 years maybe, and then I sold it, downgraded until I didn't really have a car that was really very drivable, which actually was the rival in some parts of the world to the FJ40. And I ended up with a 1967 Nissan Patrol when I was about 20 years old. Same thing, found it in the Auto Trader. Didn't know what they were. Went and looked at it, drove it, and fell in love with the thing. It was super cool. Yeah. And then I ended up kind of hanging out. It didn't really run much for the next 4 or 5 years till I eventually left Oregon, a little bit here and there, But I did turn a wrench on it a lot, and it was just a fun truck to have. And so then I kind of took a break from all that, was carless for probably 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
I moved to Wyoming. I was a young person and rode a bike for transport. In Oregon, my tail end of the years in Oregon, I was taking the bus. Just didn't make any money at that time in life. Making $5-6 an hour, and $700 a month. There wasn't really much left over.
Yeah.
Things like Land Cruisers.
So when did you get back into Land?
So I got back into the Nissan Patrols after 5 or 6 years. I was about 27 or 28. In 1999, I started my own business, and that put me back into having some money, not just living paycheck to paycheck as a poor young person. And I think it was around 2000, about a year, maybe 2001, I bought a couple Nissan Patrols, started getting back into those, started working on them a lot more as a thing to do for fun. And like old FJ40s, those things, they just turn up in your lap once you start getting.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like a guy who gets an LV, right? Next thing you know, he's got 2 or 3 of them in the backyard. Nobody's ever seen them before. This guy's got 3 for some reason. That's how those Patrols were. People were giving them to me. I mean, I got 2. I lived in Jackson Hole, Wyoming for almost 22 years. And I found one in Idaho Falls. I found 2 Nissan Patrols, and it had been like 15 years I'd been going to Idaho Falls and never knew they were sitting there. So those things are funny. And so anyways, to kind of make that story short, I had a Tacoma in 2007. I bought an 04 Tacoma. I'm not a guy that really buys new cars.
Yeah.
I've bought 1 new car in my life, and that was a 2001 Chevy 2500 HD, just as a work. The company I started in '99 was a landscape business. So, I worked a landscape business. That's one of the reasons I was able to start learning how to work on cars, build my own cars. They took a lot of winters off in winter.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to live on a piece of property that had a shop next to it. That was about this size, about 4 bays. This is 5 bays in here. But, and I got it for cheap. I had a really good relationship with the landlord. And so there was a lot of months in winter months when I could just go sit in the garage and work on cars. And I built a lot of my own cars. And that Tacoma, I kind of built that up a lot, and ended up taking it on a road trip to Panama and back. And that was in 2009 to 10. Cool. And then I did it again in 2011. And the Tacoma was about as built as you could build one.
Yeah.
I actually really love those early Tacomas. That 2004 was kind of the last year of the true mini truck, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it got more of a mid-sized vehicle after that, Anyways, trying to keep it a little short-winded, but I ended up after 2 very long drives to Panama and back in the Tacoma, and I had like supercharger on it, man, like nice custom suspension. It was really nice. It just was not comfortable because you sit on the floor like you're sitting in a car, and you're kind of laying down, in it like this, and it wasn't comfortable. And I said, I remember that 60 series being really comfortable, and you sit in it like the school bus, like this, right? And the steering wheel's kind of like this, and it's not all like a car. So, plus I had a Pins Gower at that time too, which is very school bus.
Yeah.
And so I just decided I wanted to get a 60 series, and I think that was in 2011. And I tried to sell the Tacoma, but I had so much in it that I wasn't able to get it really close to what I wanted for it. And I came across a 60 series out of Colorado that was exactly what I wanted, because I wanted a 60 series that had the ramjet V8, because I wanted fuel injection, but I didn't want too complicated. I wanted to keep it simple. And I hit the guy up with a message and just to see if he wanted to trade for the Tacoma, and he was willing to trade. And so we did a swap. He's kind of a crazy Russian guy. He's kind of known in Colorado, though, in the Tacoma world, because he's fairly honest, I think. But he does a lot of parting Tacomas and cruisers and 4Runners and stuff. Oleg is his name.
Okay.
But he had a piece of property in northern Idaho, was homesteading up there, and I had to go up there and meet him. And they were like living out of campers and off grid, no water, no power. I ended up staying the night there with him and his apprentice, I guess. I traded in for that 60, and then that was kind of sealed the deal for me on cruisers after that. I've had them ever since then, so that was 2011.
So would you say like the 60 is your favorite cruiser? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a favorite. I have a top 5.
Okay, what's your top 5?
Top 5 would be like this here. That's a 77 series. People seen it on the forum if they follow the forum and my builds at all. That's called the Rocklander. I like that version in left-hand drive, so that's 76 series.
Okay.
Because to me, that is the 60 series version of. That's a 70 series version of a 60.
Okay.
They feel very similar driving them.
Yeah. Very
classic, very cool, similar dash, very close wheelbase, almost. I think it's almost the same. So I really like that vehicle. A 60 series is definitely in the top 5 for me. Unfortunately, we just took it over to my house and stashed it about an hour before you showed up. But I have a truck we're finishing for some folks out of McCall. That's a 8862 California truck, so beautiful rust-free.
And that's the
we're calling it white lightning on the forum.
Okay, yeah, that's what because in preparation for this, I kind of went through the forum and was looking at some of your builds and went on your website and looked at some of the builds that you had there.
Top 5. This 75 series pickup sitting outside. That's a 90. So a 90s version of that, because they still have a removable top.
Oh, cool.
For me to build that into a rock crawler would be really cool, because you can still remove the top, fold the windshield. You could do a stage in it with a bikini top. 40,
lots of different personality.
I mean, just for me, that's the kind of build I would really enjoy doing on that particular rig there. I like the 79 series double cabs. I'm a big fan of the 70 series. A Troopy done up just right, depending on what I wanted to do. I've done a lot of those Latin American drives. A pop top Troopy would be or just for Baja trips.
Yeah.
I love 80 series, man. I've got 3 80 series right now, including one that we've cut into a pickup truck.
Cool.
And we've extended the wheelbase on that one. But we do a lot of chassis work, where like this one here, we're sitting next to an 80 series frame that's set up for a 2024 Troopy body, and this one we chopped the chassis and extended it 7 or 8 inches.
All right.
So that's a lot of the stuff we kind of do. I like 80 series pickups just because they're, during that generation. I know nowadays you can get a pickup with a coil sprung rear.
Yeah.
The Nissan, I think Frontier's offered with that. I think Toyotas are going that way with Tacomas and the Dodge even full size. But during the 90s, you just couldn't get a vehicle that was a pickup with a cool sprung rear.
Yeah.
And I also like Australia stuff a lot, I've been to Australia. I've had Aussie friends. So I like things like that, the whole Aussie style. So, but I don't like it when you take like an 80 series and you make it a pickup, but you don't extend the wheelbase. Because to me, it looks funky.
Yeah.
I'm very much a proportionate kind of guy.
Yeah, it kind of looks like a chop shop job.
Right. Like I hate like a 60 series with spring over that's got like 33s on it.
Yeah.
It looks goofy. It looks like a roller skate. It looks goofy to me. I'm very much a proportion guy. Lifts height, the tire size, just so on and so forth. Like this thing, the Rocklander is really wide, but I think it looks purposely, built for rock crawling. So in that sense, I think it's all right. When we do these chassis swaps, we really go to as much effort as we can to try and keep that tire and really narrow and have the right backspace and to try and suck it in there because it doesn't look right. These trucks are kind of weird in that they're wider in the front end than they are on the ass end. And so, anyway, so yeah, there's, that's kind of how I ended up with cruisers and ended up where I am here. Kind of, sort of. That's most of the story or half of it. I've had 100 series, I've had 60 series, I've had 80 series. If you're from Boise, you probably know St. Anthony Sand Dunes over in Eastern Idaho.
Yeah.
I rolled a really, really nice V880 series I got from George Esther.
Okay, yeah.
I used to, the Pinzgauer I mentioned is actually a 6x6. It was owned by Warren and was actually raced in 93 by Mike Warren himself in Ukraine for what they called the Transylvania Trophy. And I traded that to George, owner of Valley Hybrids, for this V880 series in, that was 2012 or 2013.
Yeah.
Tricked it out, and then on a trip to the sand dunes over there, it just went wrong one day. And I rolled it 4 times and destroyed it. And I only had liability on it like an idiot. So just lost the truck. I've had a lot of cruisers though.
Yeah. George is a pretty good friend of the podcast. He's actually one of the quote unquote sponsors of the podcast.
Yeah, I've known George over 15 years.
Yeah.
He's always been a really good guy for me, and a friend. I've stayed at his house in California. He's a great guy.
Yeah. I said this on the podcast before, but I've been having a conversation with you, and that's kind of what I like about the podcast, is it ends up just being a conversation between cruiser heads. He was actually in Tucson, getting ready to go to Overland Expo, and I was like, oh man, I wish I would have known that you were going to be in town. I would have just loved to be on a fly on the wall and just listen, because he got together with like owner Nazari and a couple other cruiser guys that are based out of Tucson, and I just would have loved to be a fly on the wall in that conversation. He's like, I'm like, well, how long are you going to be in town? And he's like, well, I'm leaving tomorrow. Where do you live? And I told him, and he's like, oh, that's not very far away from here. So what's your address? And I'll come over. And I gave him my address, and then he showed up. I'm like, oh man, I've got like Land Cruiser royalty here. I'm like, I didn't know how to act because I've never met somebody like George before.
Yeah.
But he was just so awesome, and like, I'm like, I told him, like, yeah, it's not every day I have Land Cruiser royalty here. He's like, yeah, you still don't. Not saying anything against me. It's just that's the way he is. He's just kind of humble like that, and he's just like, he doesn't see himself as what I would call Land Cruiser royalty.
Yeah, I don't first. I just see him as kind of a friend, and we're, we do business too. I buy products from him, and I think that's how I first met him. Was I needed something for a 60 series or something. George generally has used parts around. I don't know how he's doing with that stuff these days, but in the past he's like, hey man, I need this. I don't know. We've got split force. Sometimes I just needed the shifter out of a 5 bushing on it.
Yeah.
He's just, you can call George.
Yeah.
It's kind of how it's been for over 15 years.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, and then my time in Jackson Hole, as anybody that's ever been to Jackson Hole knows, it's kind of a rich man place.
Yeah.
And I moved there when I was 22 or 23 years old, and I got half the 90s there. I moved there in 95 when it was still a chance to be a ski bum in that town.
Yeah.
And I went there as a young snowboarder, and that was kind of my focus until 99 when I started my business. But even after that, I snowboarded real hard till about 05. I was doing over 100 days a year.
Oh, geez.
And a lot of that was in the backcountry up on Teton Pass.
Yeah.
I got myself a Husky, and we would just go because I would work all summer. You know, we out there you do 7 months worth of work flow.
Yeah.
And if you made enough money, you could take the winter off. A lot of people lived that lifestyle back then there. And eventually it ran its course for me, though, because I never bought. I chose lifestyle when I was young like that. And that's allowed me to travel the world, go to a lot. I've been all over the world. I've had many winters of not working for up to 5 months at a time. But eventually it ran its course just because I never bought a house there. And eventually I began to get pushed out for that reason. And it was kind of coming to a close there in 2016. I tried to find another rental and stuff, but it just wasn't happening. I tried to buy the property I was on. It was about $3 million.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, and almost had enough. The bank almost was going to loan me. I'm glad I didn't because I probably would have lost it in COVID.
Oh,
because they shut that place down at COVID for like a year.
Oh, geez.
And I couldn't have survived that with a big mortgage. But that was kind of the end, and it was time to go. And so I sold everything I owned. I had a 100 series at the time with 124,000 on it. I bought it at the time with only 124,000, and I built it out just total overland setup, man.
Yeah.
Like fridge in it, and I had just everything overland you could put on it just about. I weighed it something like 8,000 pounds. Yeah, I was also carrying enough gear for 3 people though, and I sold everything I owned. What wouldn't pack in that Land Cruiser, and I hit the road, and that was the year Trump got elected. And I don't really have anything to say political either way, but America was kind of freaking out, and I said I'm going to go on a long road trip to Tierra del Fuego in Argentina, and maybe I'll see y'all in a year or two, you know. And I went for that, but I kind of ran out of money once I was in Panama, or I got low on money, enough to where I felt uncomfortable shipping the rig to South America. And so this is a little more about the story of how we landed right here in Boise, Idaho with a Land Cruiser shop. And so I was kind of at a point in my life where I wasn't sure what I was going to do, where I was going to go, and I started looking around at all the Land Cruisers around me in Central America. And, I've already imported a few rigs way back in the early 2000s, so I was a little familiar with it. And I decided, you know what? If I can sell this Land Cruiser for enough money, pool all the rest of my money together, and I can start this import business, I can try and find some nice Land Cruisers down here and import them. And I might try and do it from there. So be based in Central America, restore them there, fix them up, and then ship them, because it's a lot cheaper, obviously, than live in Central America. And in particular, Nicaragua, which happens to be the second poorest country in all of Latin America, Haiti being the poorest, there are a buttload of Land Cruisers. I mean, almost every other car is a Land Cruiser. And it's been that way since like the 60s.
Yeah.
And so they're plentiful there. And it's cheap, and I have some good friends in Nicaragua. So I went and I sold the 100 series to a guy in the U.S., actually on I Hate Mud. I got a lot more than I expected for the truck. Pulled all my money together, and I scouted Nicaragua on my way back from Panama on that trip, and set up the contacts. And then I went back to Nicaragua after I sold the rig. I actually sold the rig in Boise because I have a friend here in Boise, and at this point, I didn't have a home in the U.S.
Yeah.
So I needed somewhere to come and just be based for a little bit, fix the truck up, get it ready for sale. The guy who bought it from me actually is the guy who handles the website for all Wells Fargo's in North America. So,
oh man,
yeah, he's got some money. He was based out of the Bay Area. He's kind of a techie guy. He was real happy with the truck because he was trying to build a 100 series exactly how mine was built, but it was going to take a year and blah blah blah. And he bought it early in the summer so he could just start using it right away. It worked out for both of us. I went back to Nicaragua. I got a little 1-bay, 2-bay shop and bought some trucks. Tried to fix them up. Ran out of money again. And I still needed a home base. Boise was kind of still that. I had a few friends here. And so then I shipped my trucks up here, came back up to Boise. That was in late 2007.
Okay.
And then one of them was an 84 HJ47. Very rare.
Nice.
Yeah, really rare truck. It had a little bit of a Bondo backyard resto, but you could see on the underside of the truck where the rock.
Yeah, okay.
So put it up on a lift, you could look and go, okay, this is what I'm dealing with on this body.
Yeah.
It was like an 11 of 84, so one of the last months.
Oh, yeah.
And very cool truck. And then the other one was a short wheelbase 70 series. That one took me some time to sell. I sold the 47 quick. That pulled some more money together. We decided to pull a couple more out of Central America, out of Nicaragua. One was a Prado, and the other one was that Troopy sitting right over.
Oh, nice.
Which has unfortunately been in my company since 2018. It's traded hands mid-build once. that truck on the forums called the Troopy Hodgepodge. It's got a 100-page build thread and 300,000 views or something. And that's kind of at that point I was a little more established in Boise. I was helping a friend of mine just 2 blocks away over here on 46th Street remodel a house he had just gotten from a family member that died.
Yeah.
And he kind of put me up for 6 months while we did that. I was living in his house while we remodeled it. I knocked the old chicken coop down in the backyard and put up a little tent, in the garage, a gravel floor. And, well, right before that, I actually got a job for an excavation company, but I haven't worked in the regular work pool for 25 years, you know, almost at that point. It was like 23 years. And I lasted a couple weeks on an excavation company's crew. It was pretty sad, just wasting the guy's money and just, I called it team redo. They put me on team redo, and I lasted 2 weeks, and then I put an ad in on Craigslist here in Boise that said Land Cruiser specialty mechanic, starting up looking for work, and I landed a 40 series build out of McCall off of Craigslist, believe it or not. Pretty decent little job, and that's when I knocked the chicken coop down and went to work for myself in the backyard. I did 2.5 builds in the backyard before my friend eventually kicked me out of the backyard and said, go get yourself a shop. And I just got lucky. Used to be, people in Boise might know, but this was Throttle Works Complex.
Okay.
They were around for going on 10 years. It was a motorsports complex. They had a dyno right back over here.
Yeah.
If you were around the neighborhood, it was loud at that time when they were running the dyno. I liked it. There were actually 2 guys that owned that business and owned this property, and they were really cool guys.
Yeah.
And this shop right here was available to us, the one across from me. I came down and looked at it, and we sealed the deal on a handshake. He was super cool, no deposit, no background check. And I've been here ever since. So, yeah, so, you know, the business boomed pretty good. And
so do you do, like, more, like, customer request builds, or are you still bringing stuff from South America up and selling them?
So the company, I named the company South and North Land Cruisers, and I was sitting down there in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Because it started as an importation. That was the idea. I was going to do importation. And, you know, I know Latin American trucks have a bad rep, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Especially because a lot of people have been deceitful importing those vehicles. There are still, you know, out of every 100 Land Cruisers you come across down there, there's a nice one.
Yeah.
They're still down there.
Yeah.
But they're coveted locally. They go quick locally. And they do cost a few bucks. When you know, you're going to spend 10 to 20,000 on a nice rust-free 40 series or 60 series just to get it. Yeah. And that's in a really poor country. You know, and then these days importation is high. But for me, it didn't play out because I am not good. I'm too OCD, and I'm too honest to be a used car salesman.
Yeah.
And I end up putting too much of my own money in it, and I can't get a return out, and I sit on a chunk of money for too long, and it just didn't play out for me after 4 trucks. That one I did source for somebody, and that worked better. That one being this Troopy, the Hodgepodge Troopy. I sourced some other ones. This one was sourced.
Okay.
This happened, the 45 series here that you got the video going of. This is actually a guy I've known out of Jackson Hole who was a contractor there. I've known him for over 20 years. We used to work together a lot. He kind of got into Land Cruisers and then wanted me to build this one. This is a really special truck too. It's a 67 45.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, yeah, it's not completed and there's no roof or windows in it, but
it's got a brand new Toyota windshield in it.
Yeah, and it looks nice and straight and clean, and kudos to you and your guys.
It's been restored.
For that.
So this is what we call the final. It's in the final.
Okay.
You know? Yeah. So if I lifted the hood, you're going to see a brand new engine, which is actually a 1HD FT. So that's 24 valve turbo diesel. Last of the mechanical turbo diesels, it was an 80 series, 95 80 series. Found that engine out of England. It had been at somebody's vacation home on the coast. 100,000 original miles.
Oh man!
It had almost like new compression out of the crate. Used. Beautiful engine. But we still went through it just because he wanted to have it just be new. But that's a really special truck.
So, what's it final vision going to be? Is it going to be on bigger tires? And
since it's sprung over, those are just our, we keep rollers on it. It's got people that can't see it, they're listening to this right now. It's got like 26-inch tires or something on it. So that's just to make it easy to work on while it's in here. It's sprung over. People have their opinions about that and about the shackle reversal. I've built a lot of suspensions in my day, and I think that you can build it to ride very, very nice as a daily driver if you build it correctly. And this is meant to be a daily driver he owns a company that makes soil and compost and basically recycled wood products, makes like composite decking and things like that. So this is meant to be like his boss truck, kind of. So that's why it's got like, those are amp drop down steps, and that's because it's a little tall.
Yeah.
He's got, I think, 2 or 3 sons now. That's why we put the roll cage in it too, was because, man, this truck, you don't want to roll this truck with your kids in it.
Oh yeah.
And that roll cage is designed to save his life. It's not really designed as like a rock crawling thing where you roll it over and just keep doing that to the truck. It's meant to like save your life.
Would it be okay if we went and talked about Hodgepodge for a little bit?
Yeah, I just actually did a walk around on that earlier today, but that's not on your podcast. So this is a fantastic truck. So this was a 93 11 of 93 Troopy that come out of Nicaragua. When I found it, it wasn't even 25 years old, so I couldn't import it. We actually ended up getting this for a guy at cost, and then I just charged him a small handler's fee to like handle the purchase, import it, title it in my name, do the first title. And then that's because he wanted us to do a bit of a build on it.
Yeah. And it's got the Alucab roof on it. Is it just the Alucab roof pop top or?
Yeah, that's a pop top. Yep. So that's full camper pop top. They're kind of ugly out of all the pop tops, but man, it's really high quality. Like the canvas and the bed and everything in there is just super nice. It's really durable construction. You can put kayaks up there. You could probably put an aluminum boat up there. It's that strong.
Yeah, I like these fold out
gull wings.
The gull wings.
Yeah, those are from
that's a good.
It's got a lot. This is South African. The roof is South African. These are Australian. I think the rear bumper's South African. Front bumper's Australian. So it's kind of a mix here.
Hence the hodgepodge, but
yeah. I mean, the original guy named it that, and so it's on an 80 series chassis. It's
cool.
A factory locked 80 series chassis that was stretched to match the wheelbase because it's about 7 inches difference or 6 inch difference.
So do you do a lot of these 70-80 swaps?
Yep.
Okay.
This is this is 4th. Well, it depends what order we're talking about, but we've done about 5 of them. There's a few more on the books for us too. Yeah, so this guy did this because he wanted the comfort of the suspension. When this guy started building this, the first owner, he's in the Air Force.
Yeah.
He joined when he was 18, right after 9/11 happened, and he was coming to the end when he could retire, and he never got married or had kids, and he spent most of his time stationed overseas, and he wanted to take this truck and drive it around the world over the next 10 years or something when he retired. I think he just lost. I think maybe that idea died for him a bit too, to drive it around the world. Maybe some personal issues with family. I don't really know. I try and respect people's privacy.
Yeah.
But he wanted to sell it when it was about, hard to say, halfway, 2/3 of the way done. This thing actually, I can lift the hood for you. This thing actually had we had an LS3 all aluminum V8 in it, and 6-speed automatic, all new, rebuilt, blah, blah, blah. And he had us yank it out and put this diesel in mid-build. Just kind of silly. Not to say that the diesel isn't awesome. It is. That's a 24-valve electronically controlled diesel.
Oh, nice.
From 100 series.
Okay.
In my opinion, we work on diesels a ton here. And in my opinion, this right here is the best diesel Toyota ever made. And the reason for that, a lot of guys might argue that the new V8 turbo diesel is better. It sounds better. I don't think it's better. It's more complicated. And this particular engine, you've got 40 years of Toyota engineering and redefining that diesel. This is basically the same as an H.
Yeah.
Okay. It's just like 5th gen, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Because the electronics, it's not a common rail, meaning electronic injectors. It's just strictly electronic at the injection pump. So by being electronic, it adjusts automatically air-fuel ratio, timing. When you turn the AC on, it automatically compensates for the load and idles up. You don't need vacuum switching valves and blah, blah, blah. Since it's been in the 100 series for, going on a couple decades now or more, it has proven to be very reliable and robust.
Yeah.
It's sold in Africa. It's sold in Australia a lot. This particular engine, the one that was in it, was from Germany. This is a new Toyota long block here. So that's the other thing that's beautiful about these. We do a lot of these 1HD FTEs. What's awesome about them is you can still buy a brand new long block from Toyota.
Yeah.
And when you order that from Japan, a Japanese guy builds it.
Nice.
It's built to order. And they also run these on a stand in Japan before they send them out. And I know that because I tore the heads off to put like ARP head studs in new long blocks. And there's a little bit of stuff going on inside that shows you that they've ran.
Yeah.
And there's, I guarantee you, they're not doing that with your Fords and your Chevys when you buy a replacement engine.
So, would you say that you prefer doing the diesel swaps or like the small block Chevy swaps?
I love them both.
Okay.
And it just depends what the person's after. Currently, I have multiple diesels of my own. The Rocklanders, I've got like $28,000 in the diesel over there. They get very, very expensive, more so than an LS. You spend $28,000 in an LS, it's going to be turbocharged. It's going to have 100 or 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah.
So that's the difference. A diesel is much more expensive. Longevity, there's, I think, a lot of information and misconceptions about these engines, in particular, doing what we do to them. So this engine has an upgraded turbo. It's capable of doing 30 psi.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. Well, compared to stock, it was like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
It has what's called plus 30 injectors. That doesn't mean plus 30%. I think it means the orifice is increased by 30, whatever injection pump flow is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a percentage, though. That can be a misconception with these
way that they spec these injectors. So this stuff is all out of Australia. It's all been tested to no end in Australia. And, when you do this correctly, this also has a chip on it that allows for 5 tunes to be accessed at the push of a button.
Nice.
You can go from towing to power to economy to stock. And so, in my opinion, when you increase the power in these, and this comes from a lot of experience as well, it's fine. You're not shortening the longevity of the engine, except when you don't have things like your coolant temp under control or your EGTs. Diesel EGTs is the number one thing. And as long as your EGTs are under control, you can see it's got a very large intercooler in it here. Then you're not, in my opinion, shorting the longevity of the engine at all. The biggest thing about any of these kind of swaps, whether it's an LS or a diesel, maintenance.
Yeah.
Take good care of this thing. Change the oil, flush the coolant, change your fuel filters. Don't neglect it. Use quality oil, use Toyota filters. I don't see an issue with 30 pounds of boost, 350 horsepower, 750 foot-pounds, doing diesel burnouts. As long as you take care of it, and you don't drive it like a teenager every time you pull off the line.
Yeah.
This truck is full-time 4-wheel drive, so that's the first. This is the first one that we've done with the diesel and the 70 series swap. That's full-time. It's pretty awesome being full-time.
Yeah.
And that engine does have, maybe not quite 350, but it's got plenty of power. You can book it up to Horseshoe Bend up the mountain in this thing at 75 miles an hour, no problem.
Yeah. I remember growing up whenever my parents would get a new car, that would be like their litmus test is going up Horseshoe Bend, because I had grandparents up in Cascade. We would go up to Brundage Mountain, Bogus Basin, all over the south or southwest Idaho, and
Yeah.
that it was like, okay, we need to have a vehicle that can actually make it up Horseshoe Bend.
So when we finish these, like the diesels, we like to break them in at 1,000+ miles before we send them home. The gases, like a LS, is about 500 usually for us, or say a 1FC we rebuild.
Okay.
And for that's because we want to go through a certain driving process. Also, if you live in flat Texas, you maybe don't have the ability to run it through the driving process we want to run it through to break it in.
Yeah.
And that involves we start by going to the dump and doing that big run up around the dump. So that'll be our first tester with some hills, and some loads. And then we go to Horseshoe Bend and we just kind of progress. And eventually I'll go Idaho City, Loman, Banks, back to Boise. That's a great
drive.
Yeah, because you're putting the right load on it and you're keeping it in the right RPMs and it's the right speed. I don't want to be racing the engine. I don't want to be like sitting on the highway holding the same RPMs. I want to be idling in traffic. And then eventually I might do like a Stanley to Mountain Home.
And not only that are the driving conditions correct on it, but just the scenery and the mountains and everything else is.
I'm never sad when I take one of these and go do those drives and break it. It's always the most enjoyable. I mean, it's actually what keeps us going on this.
Yeah.
I think a lot of shops don't do these kind of builds, and most people would actually be really surprised. This is 2,000 to 3,000 man hours.
I believe
build a truck like this.
I believe it.
That is how much time it takes to get down to the last nut and bolt and customize things as you go. And so it takes a long time, and we put a lot of work into it. I'm the kind of guy that stands behind everything I do, and so if we have a problem here, I stand behind that. I can give you an example where the front differential started leaking in this truck. Customer paid to have it built once and built right. The first time I yank it out, that doesn't cost the customer any money. And so, that's another reason why we want to go through that 1,000 miles is we want to make sure, because this truck lives in Florida, man.
Yeah.
That's a long ways from here. And so this needs to be at 110% before I send it home. And so
So how much longer has this one got before it passes the quality control?
It's done.
It's done.
It's done.
Nice.
Yep, it's done. It got detailed. I think we were finishing detailing it this morning. We just waxed it with ceramic wax like yesterday afternoon. It's packed, literally packed with the spare parts to take it home. This one's been back and forth as to whether or not we were going to do cabinetry and a fridge and all that in the back of this Troopy. In the end, like, the second owner on this, man, he bought this before it was painted. A lot of people know who Kelly Sad is. He's out there in, I think it's Fort Collins, Colorado. He paints a lot of Land Cruisers. This body went to him in Colorado to be painted. So, I mean, it's kind of been around,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's got like 1,000 miles on it. It's ready to go. It's a brand new truck. And he's just kind of, I think, out of wind on it a little bit. And he's ready to get it. He's a little sad maybe because it's not turnkey as far as like, the cabinetry and everything in the back. But at the same time, it's a blank canvas for him to do that.
There's enough. You've left just enough for him to add his own personal touch to it.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, it's got the gauges it needs, the seats, the console, the brakes, the engine, the fuel tanks, the sliders. But it doesn't have, the cabinetry how he wants. I mean, some people put composting toilets in these things. So I wouldn't, but yeah. So, anyways, the other one that's over there on the lift, that one I think we're going to do the full build out on that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here is the 70 series, the 70-80 swap. It's on an 80 series chassis, getting a 70 series Troopy body. And where would you say you're at on this one?
Oh, we're in the first 10 to 20%.
Okay.
So we have extended the chassis. That's done. Since you're videoing, we might point. This is where I've chopped chassis and added. So
okay.
Probably can't tell. This whole section has been added. We like to do it that way so you can't tell. This particular customer, we built another truck for, and it was a 70 series double cab on an 80 series chassis, and it ended up weighing 8,000 pounds. That's before you pack it full of gear. And so I'm expecting this to be 8 to 10. So we've made the decision here in the last week that we're going to go ahead and plate the frame out with this 3/16 here. So that if it does hit 10,000 pounds, because 80 series chassis are good and strong, but they aren't really designed for 10,000 pounds.
Yeah.
We might even end up replacing the rear axle housing just for that reason. I think as far as the rest of the components go, it's plenty strong. And I think the frame is, but why risk it,
Yeah.
So we built all the body mounts here. We extended the frame. We built all these so that these all match the Troopy. We're locating the front axles custom. That's a rust proofing we put on. This is actually a sprayable seam sealer.
Yeah, I was just kind of, it's not a view that most people get all the time. So I'm like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah, Toyota doesn't do a really good job of rust proofing these things.
Yeah.
So while we have the opportunity, we like to do this. That's a sprayable seam sealer that's then been top coated with a white paint. And you can see this is seam sealer here. We've just gone ahead and done an extra layer on top. So that's what Toyota uses underneath their vehicles. People don't necessarily realize that. They might think it's like bed liner. It's not. And you can see it like in that 80 series. See the rough texture in the wheel?
Yeah.
That's sprayable seam sealer. It's just kind of ugly because it's got road grime all over it. Anyways, so that's what we like to use because it's really durable and it stays soft so that it won't get like flaky from rock chips and stuff.
Yeah. And that prevents the rust that these bodies will inevitably face. So
yeah. And we do a lot of kind of rust proofing on these when we finish. Like this silver that you see on here is actually what's called a weld through primer on the frame.
Yeah.
We're getting ready to lay a plate on here and weld it on. It's going to have that weld through primer between the two layers. So we try and always do our best to, cruisers rust, man.
Yes.
So let's at least put some effort in to try and make them
Yeah.
last a while. I believe a lot of that also comes down to, getting underneath your rig with a pressure washer. If you were to go look at my 80 outside, there's not a speck of dirt underneath it, because I respect my truck, I guess. And I work on them, so I like to keep them clean. I hate when you bring a truck in and dirt falls in your eyes.
Oh yeah, that's the worst. I'm actually a fleet mechanic for a local law enforcement agency down there,
All right.
and so yeah, I'm not the motor guy, I'm not the engine guy, I'm the alignment guy. So everyone hands me their trucks when they're done.
Yep.
And I don't claim to be the motor guy because I'm batting 1,000 on the motors on my 40, and so I had somebody else do the motor when I did that. But yeah, my 40 was a Arizona vehicle its whole life. It still even has the original dealer sticker on it. But I still had rust in the bed tub, under the driver's seat, under the fuel tank. I'm like, oh, when am I going to be done with the rust? Yeah. But yeah.
Even the desert truck rust. Yeah. Well, I think the old saying was back in the day, they came over from Japan with rust on. The 70 series has kind of continued that tradition.
Yeah.
The Rocklander is a rusty turd. I bought this from a local guy, on a bit of a whim, because I did want one of these. And he told me it had rust. He said, "You don't want it. It's got rust. It doesn't look like it, but trust me, it's bad, man."
Yeah.
He said, "You don't want it." Here's where you can see there's some holes. Here's a big rust hole right there. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
And it's all over in this thing, like it's just falling apart. Anyways, he said, "You don't want it's rusty." I said, "How rusty?" He said, "It's pretty rusty." And I said, well, he was asking a certain amount, and I said, offered him what I thought was a pretty good low ball. It must not have been that good of a low ball, because I think he replied within 30 seconds and said, "You got a deal."
You called your bluff on it. You're like, oh man, no, I actually have to buy it.
And he brought it over for me to look at, and I could have said no, but I'm kind of a guy that tends to stick to my word. And
yeah. And
I was thinking that I would, because I'm capable of doing a rust repair in this thing. And I thought I might use that as some content, But once I started really looking at it and seeing how bad it was, I'm like, man, that's like 500 man hours. I don't know if I really want to do that to it. So,
looks like there's a little bit of a rusty spot right there too.
It's all over. The whole windshield frame is like really bad up in here.
Yeah.
It's like you can see from the inside. It's like scale.
Oh
so
yeah.
It's beyond surface. It's going to like turn back into dirt. The floor pan up here would be a good spot to see how bad. This was pretty depressing to find this, because this is major surgery to fix. Look at that thing.
Oh yeah.
That's a body mount. That holds the whole firewall to the frame. So it's like,
yeah.
Okay. Oh. So I bought a 2023 or 2024 79 series pickup body single cab, because I got it for a really screaming deal. Most of these are coming out of Canada these days. And so the idea is to maybe put that on this, not in any sort of big rush.
Yeah.
I think I want to go let's go run all the hard trails.
Yeah.
The real hard ones. The buggy trails.
So,
and then when I can't open the door and this window's smashed right here and stuff, then maybe I'll put that other body on it.
So where are like places that you like to go in your cruisers?
I've done a lot. So I was talking about those Nissan Patrols. Some people on Mud might remember me from back in the day. I had an 83 Nissan Patrol that was not even 25 years old when I got it. So this was an import before they changed the law.
Yeah.
It was imported in 87 from Germany, and I had bought it out of Bakersfield. It was a diesel. It's just like a 73 series Land Cruiser with a removable fiberglass top.
Yeah.
It's the Nissan Patrol version of that. And I bought it for nothing, and I turned it into a rock crawler. And so I had that thing. It was on 16-inch coilovers and length, and had 4 axles and 40-inch tires on beadlock. So I've done a lot of crawling in Moab and stuff. When I had that, I used to go to Arizona and go for like a week with guys out of not Tucson, but out of Phoenix. Out of
Okay.
Phoenix. There was a big Nissan group that would. So I've gone down there and I've done. I can't remember the trail. There's some famous trails down there that I've actually done.
Oh, like Axel Alley.
yeah.
Okay.
What's there's
Jack Handle.
Yeah, we also would do like these really long, like 7-day trips where we would go like do this canyon, and we'd go way over here and camp and do these other rock crawling trails and stuff. But it's been 15 years.
Yeah. So
around here we've got close to town we've got south of town, down south of. Why am I having a brain fart on that one too? Lost Trail area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yesterday my dad, my son, and we went up to Bogus and we were doing hot laps on mountain bikes. And I told my dad that before I moved down to Arizona, I had a job over on the east side of Boise at a sporting goods store, and I had a second gen 4Runner at the time, and I left work for work early one day.
Yeah.
And I left like 2-3 hours early, and I just went over to Bogus Basin Road, and this is before they put all those multi-million-dollar homes up there. Mm-hmm. But I would just, as soon as I got to like an offshoot road, I would hit it in my 4Runner, and then I would get done with that one, and it would be directly across from it would be another offshoot, and I would just leapfrog back and forth across the road the whole way up. And then
there's some good trails up there still.
And then I was like, oh well, I guess it's time for me to go to work. And my dad's like,
I hate to name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like, have you ever done Boulder Basin? You know Boulder City?
No.
Well, there's a trail I discovered, which I think is the best trail here in Idaho. Actually, somebody told me about it. It's up out of the Sun Valley area.
Okay.
And it's like, it's not. There's only a couple waterfalls on it that make it hard rock crawling wise. There are some decent sections where you can do obstacles, but you can bypass them. So, although it has got really eroded the last few years, but what I'm trying to get at is, I've noticed in the last 5 years that trail's getting more trash, more poop on the ground, more poop paper, more people.
Yeah.
And so I hate to name them. I generally kind of have a rule of not, like, I'll post videos of places like that I go, but I generally don't name them just because.
Yeah. You don't want more people getting there when it's already getting kind of overcrowded.
I just hate that.
Yeah.
You know, and I've seen people trashing the meadow up there too, getting off trail. You know, we don't want it to get closed, man. It's a really fantastic trail and area, and you can camp up there out of your rig. And it actually goes up to over 11,000 feet.
Yeah.
And you go up the tree line, and it's awesome. And I just hate to see things like that getting trashed. In all my days wheeling, I've never ran the Rubicon. So that is kind of on the list as one of the first trips for the Rocklander here, right out the gates.
You know, when I messaged you a little bit earlier in the week, as soon as I hit send, I'm like, oh crap, I hope he's not at Rubathon right now.
My Daily Driver 80 series out there, that 95, it's the green one over there, but
yeah,
it'd easily do it. Like that truck will do it. So these days I generally go by like Onyx off-road, and they're rated, 1 to 10, right?
Yeah.
The Rubicon I think is rated 7. So that's like a comparison, right? And that truck could easily do a 7 without body damage. But the thing is the truck's worth a lot of money, and I'm actually getting ready to sell it for that reason. And so I don't really want to run it on, the hardest trail I've took it on is Boulder City, which is Onyx rates Boulder City at 6.
Okay.
And I got a few scrapes and stuff underneath it. There's some battle scars on the bumpers from that trail.
Yeah.
But I don't want to trash it, and I've actually been like fixing the clear peel on it over the years, and the body's actually starting to kind of come around other than all the pinstripes in it.
Yeah.
This truck right here, the Rocklander, I'm not gonna cry if I cave a door in.
So when you put the pickup body on it, are you gonna dovetail it or keep it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because so I've got an 80 series pickup over there. It's the one that's under the car cover, and we can peek at it before you go if you want. It's really cool. But I stretched the wheelbase on that truck from the stock 112 that an 80 series is to, I think I'm about 122, somewhere right in there.
So again, about 7-8 inches.
No, I gained about 10.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's you get a big breakover. You start screwing up your breakover.
Yeah.
So there's advantages to a long wheelbase rock crawling. On steep climbs and descents, it's going to be a lot more stable. Now, obviously, it's going to have a bigger turning radius. It's less maneuverable. And anyway, so with the Rocklander, I don't really want to. I think I would stretch the wheelbase with a pickup body on it just a little bit, but this thing has like a 107-inch wheelbase right now, and I wouldn't want to go over like 115, max 117 for this, because I want to have two different. Even if I end up with two pickups, I want to have two different driving experiences still.
Yeah.
And the wheelbase is where I'll get that. I don't mind like a 40 series wheelbase for rock crawling, but they're real tippy.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of like there's a minimum wheelbase for me in that regard.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to shorten this, and I don't want a pickup that's going to have like a 2-foot bed.
Yeah.
It look goofy. So yeah. Anyway.
Well, we're actually at about an hour. I usually keep my podcast to about an hour. So thank you for letting me come in after hours and kind of hang around your shop for a little bit.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, man. Yeah.
Do you have any final thoughts for us?
Not really. Night cruisers are fun. I feel really fortunate to be a part of the community. I'm kind of an antisocial guy in a way. I'm the kind of guy that likes to go lock himself in his shop, close all the doors, turn on the heavy metal music real loud, and do my own thing.
Yeah.
But I love the community. I love being a part of the community. I love meeting people like yourself. I love building the trucks. Obviously, that's a big part of the passion. I've got really great guys working for me that love to do it as well. That's why we're doing this. Is none of us are really getting rich. It might look like it with these crazy builds, but we're really not.
Yeah.
We're doing it because we love it.
It's the love of the game.
Yeah, and so that's it. I think yeah. Just my doors are always open to cruiser heads. Need a part, broke down, that kind of stuff. We try and help as much as we can. Sometimes people have messaged me on a Sunday, hey, I need help, I'm passing through, maybe my head gasket's blown. If I never reply to that, that's probably because I was out camping off grid and I missed it.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, our doors are always open to cruiser heads. And yeah.
All right.
Come to town, come by the shop, say hi.
Yeah. Well, again, Ian, thanks for taking the time and speaking to me. And I love seeing the different stages of hardly beginning and still have all the rust. 10% in, 70% in, 100% in.
Yeah.
It's great to kind of see that whole progression of everything going along there.
Yeah. Luckily, we've got that going on to look at, So
yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
All right.
Any other time you want to do this is fine with me.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Classic Land Cruisers podcast. As always, remember to go to reefmonkey.com to get your Classic Land Cruiser podcast merch. Bring your adventure home with inlowgear.com, your source for custom Land Cruiser apparel and merchandise, where adventure becomes art, designed for the road. Again, this episode was brought to you in part by Redline Land Cruisers, Save Your F, by Manafree, your one-stop shop for Land Cruiser parts and service, by Valley Hybrids and Terrain Timber North America. As for me, the mountains are calling and I must go.